They say the world belongs to those who show up, but the truth is, it belongs to those who show up before the world even wakes. While others are still tangled in their sheets, dreaming dreams they will never chase, there are a rare few who rise. Eyes sharp, heart steady, and spirit aflame, ready to shape the day before it shapes them. This is not just a habit, it's a declaration. A daily vote cast for who you choose to become. You do not rise early because it's easy. You rise because your vision demands it, because comfort has no claim on the man or woman who has decided to own their destiny. Every great life was built in the silence before the storm. Lincoln drafted purpose in the quiet hours. Edison invented in the solitude of thought. Disney imagined entire worlds before the sun kissed the skyline. Ford sculpted a vision that rewrote the meaning of industry before the noise of the doubters could find him. They all shared one trait, not genius, not resources, but the decision to begin before the world had the chance to interrupt. Rising early isn't about productivity alone. It's about positioning. When you wake before the chaos, you take command of the battlefield while others are still unarmed. You train your mind while theirs is still cloudy. You speak to your purpose before distractions learn your name. This isn't a tactic. It's a tactic forged in philosophy, a truth that those who move first move with power. In the earliest hours of the day, you're not a responder, you're a creator. You decide how you feel. You decide what matters. You decide how the day begins and ends. While others wake to alarms and noise, you rise to intention and design. And let me be clear, the world does not reward the reactive, it rewards the proactive. The ones who don't ask for permission to become something more. The ones who take the stillness and shape steel from it. Because when you rise early, you are not just moving your body, you are awakening your will. You see, most people live by default. They react, they respond, they wait for signs. But destiny does not knock on doors of hesitation. It arrives quietly, clothed in the early morning stillness, waiting to be claimed by the few awake enough to receive it. So ask yourself this: what would happen if you stopped waiting and started showing up before the world told you who to be? The answer is clarity. The kind of clarity that only comes when the world hasn't had the chance to pollute your thoughts yet. You think your way into purpose before the day pulls you into distraction. The first light of dawn becomes your mirror, your forge, your battlefield. In those early moments, you're not just building a routine, you're building a reputation with yourself. Every time you get up when your mind says no, every time you step forward when your body wants comfort, you are casting a vote for the person you said you'd become. That vote stacks, that vote compounds, that vote becomes belief, and belief is the birthplace of all achievement. No one climbs without belief, no one leads without belief, no one becomes unstoppable without that inner fire whispering, "You were made for more." But belief isn't born in noise. It's built in the quiet, it's forged in those moments where you have every excuse to quit and choose not to. Because that's the difference between those who live by design and those who exist by default. The designed life requires discomfort. It demands discipline. And there is no greater training ground for discipline than the early morning. When you rise while others sleep, you're choosing discomfort. You're choosing focus over fog, intention over impulse. And over time, that choice becomes a habit. That habit becomes a mindset. And that mindset becomes your identity. The disciplined are not different because they have more time. They are different because they decide earlier. While others wait for inspiration, they create momentum. While others scroll, they study. While others hit snooze, they strike. Discipline, real discipline, is not about harshness, it's about clarity. It's not punishment, it's permission to become unstoppable. Think of Carnegie. His mornings were not wasted in idleness. They were shaped in steel and fire. The fire of purpose, the steel of resolve. He understood something most people miss. That wealth, power, and legacy begin not with strategy, but with structure. And the first structure of a powerful life is how you start your day. Not occasionally, not when it's convenient, but every single day, that consistency becomes identity. And identity is everything, because the person who wakes early begins to see themselves differently. You stop seeing yourself as the victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as the creator of outcomes. You stop asking, "Can I?" and begin stating, "I will." You lead yourself before you lead others. You command your emotions before the world provokes them. And that command, it echoes through every interaction, every decision, every moment. It becomes your edge. And in a world that is desperately average, where most settle for less and call it realism, that edge is priceless. Let others chase balance. You chase mastery. Let others wait for motivation. You build momentum. Let others sleep on potential. You rise and own it. Because you understand this truth. The greatest form of respect for your future is how you treat your morning. If you say, you want to be great, but you can't get out of bed, the world will know your truth. If you say you want to lead, but you can't lead yourself through the first hour of the day, what legacy can you possibly build? The first hour is the first victory. It is your evidence. It is your contract. It is the cornerstone of a life that refuses to be ordinary. That first hour tells the world everything it needs to know about you. More importantly, it tells you. Because the secret to self-belief isn't magic, it's evidence. And every morning you rise, you give yourself that proof. That you are serious, that you are not like the rest, that you mean it, and that evidence accumulates. Until doubt has no place to speak, until fear has no room to breathe, until your actions become so aligned with greatness that failure becomes an interruption, not an identity. You are not here to drift. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to waste your gifts, waiting for ideal circumstances. You are here to rise, before the noise, before the world, before anything else can try to shape your story. Because if you don't own the morning, you will never own the day. And if you don't own the day, you'll never own your destiny. So when the alarm rings and every muscle in your body begs you to stay down, that's not just a test of will. It's a test of worth. Do you truly believe the life you want is worth fighting for? Or are your dreams just ideas dressed in convenience, easily abandoned when the first bit of resistance appears? Because destiny doesn't arrive gift-wrapped. It doesn't walk through the door on its own. It waits, quietly, at the edge of your discipline, at the edge of your discomfort. It waits to see if you'll get up when no one's watching, if you'll act before there's applause, if you'll move before the world moves for you. This is where belief becomes battle, and where most people lose. Not because they're weak, but because they never learned that action builds belief, not the other way around. We don't act because we believe because we act. The man who rises early doesn't wait to feel ready. He rises to become ready. He knows the first 10 minutes of his morning are a war zone, a place where mediocrity begs for mercy and purpose refuses to back down. And the choice made in that space, between comfort and commitment, becomes the axis on which the whole day turns. Let me remind you, history does not remember the well-rested. It remembers the relentless, the ones who stepped into darkness before the world lit up. Think of Kobe Bryant, who practiced before the stadium lights even flicked on. Or Steve Jobs, who walked in silence before sunrise, sorting the chaos in his mind before shaping the future. That silence is sacred. That hour before the noise, that is your cathedral. That is where you become who you are meant to be. Because it's in that hour where you meet yourself without disguise. No audience, no validation, no filters. Just you, your ambition, and the clock. And that honesty is terrifying to most people. That's why they avoid it. That's why they bury themselves in distractions, screens, noise. Because silence demands truth, and truth demands action. You cannot lie to yourself in the stillness. You can't pretend you're giving your best when you're sleeping through your potential. You can't convince yourself you're serious about success when you keep postponing your purpose. The early morning strips away your excuses. It holds up a mirror and asks you plainly, are you the person your future needs you to be? If the answer is no, don't panic, don't retreat, recommit. That's the power of morning. It's forgiveness wrapped in fire. Every day is another chance to burn away what no longer serves you and begin again. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. The sun doesn't rise to remember, it rises to reset. And so can you. But don't just wake up. Wake up with intention. Don't just move. Move with vision. Don't just fill your morning. Forge it. Take those minutes and turn them into meaning. Use them to visualize the life you're building, the person you're becoming, the standard you refuse to lower. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Breathe it in. Let it flood your bloodstream until there's no more room for doubt. Because when you start your day rooted in clarity, you become untouchable. The opinions of others lose their grip. The distractions lose their seduction. You've already set your compass. You've already told the world where you're going. Now all that's left is to move, decisively, consistently, relentlessly. And when the storms come, and they will, you won't fold. You won't break. You've already met resistance in the morning and came out stronger. You've already proven to yourself that your spirit answers to vision, not circumstance. This is the core of resilience. It's not bouncing back. It's standing firm because you trained when no one else did. It's moving forward because you already decided who you are, and no setback gets to rewrite that. You are not built from comfort. You are not built from praise. You are built from choices, from commitment, from showing up when every fiber of your being screams for ease. This is where power begins, in doing what must be done, especially when no one sees it. The world tells you to hustle, grind, do more. But I tell you this, before you hustle, get still. Before you grind, get clear. Before you conquer the world, conquer yourself. And that conquest begins at dawn. Not with noise, but with focus. Not with frenzy, but with conviction. So reclaim your mornings. Reclaim your mind. Reclaim your time. Stop letting your notifications dictate your priorities. Stop letting urgency outrun meaning. Begin with deliberate stillness. Begin with deliberate design. And in that design, find the architecture of your greatness. Because your destiny is not a distant shore you wash up on by accident. It is a structure built brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. And the first brick is laid before the world opens its eyes. The first step is taken in darkness before the light appears. The first victory is won in silence, long before the applause. So tomorrow, when that alarm sounds and your bed calls you back and your brain pleads for comfort, remember this moment. Remember what's at stake. Not just time, not just energy, but identity, character, future, legacy. Rise, stand, move, before the world wakes, before the noise starts, before life pulls you in 100 directions. Stand up and own the hour no one else wants. Because the person who owns that hour owns everything that follows. Because once you begin to own that first hour, the world starts to bend. It shifts, quietly, imperceptibly at first, but then undeniably. Doors begin to open. Opportunities start finding you. Not because luck showed up, but because you did. Because you were already moving, while others were still deciding. You were already sharpening your mind, tuning your focus, preparing your soul. And when preparation meets opportunity, success has no choice but to surrender. This is the hidden, the law of momentum. It doesn't shout, it doesn't arrive with fireworks. It whispers, keep going, every time you rise when you don't feel like it. It builds in silence and bursts into greatness. The world won't see the early mornings, the tired eyes, the disciplined steps, but they will see the results. And they will call you lucky. Let them. Because those who rise before the world don't need applause. They've already won in the mirror, and that mirror is everything. Because it never lies. It knows whether you've honored your promise. It knows whether you've kept your word to yourself. And that's what greatness is. 1,000 quiet promises kept in the dark, long before the light ever touched them. So build your relationship with the morning. Turn it into your sanctuary, your gym, your battlefield, your cathedral. Read, write, reflect, move your body, sharpen your mind. Speak life over your vision. This is not routine. This is a ritual. It's the fire you stand in every day to forge the next version of you. And every day you step in just a little stronger, just a little clearer, just a little more relentless. Until one day you look up and realize you've become the very person you used to admire. Not because you chased perfection, but because you chose consistency. Let me say that again. Consistency is greater than brilliance. You don't need to be extraordinary to rise early. You just need to decide that your purpose is more important than your comfort. And once you do, once you've tasted what it feels like to command your time, you will never go back. You'll look at the snooze button like a thief, stealing your greatness one soft excuse at a time. And you'll rip it out of your life like the enemy it is, because it is an enemy. Anything that steals your focus, that distracts your mind, that delays your growth, is an enemy to your destiny. And the world is full of them. They look like comfort, they feel like ease, but they cost more than you realize. They cost the life you could have lived had you shown up one more day, one more hour, one more decision earlier. But you're not like the rest. You wouldn't be here if you were. You feel it in your bones, that call for something more. That sense that time is not infinite, that you were born with a clock and it's ticking and every second matters. That's not fear. That's purpose waking up inside you. Listen to it. Let it shake you. Let it strip away the laziness, the compromise, the distractions. Because this world does not need more people who follow. It needs more people who lead. And leadership begins when you rise before the world does. When you refuse to start your day in chaos. When you refuse to give your energy to everything before you've given it to what matters most. And what matters most is not what you do. It's who you become. Everything else is a byproduct. The wealth, the success, the reputation. They follow the man or woman who has mastered their mind, conquered their morning, and taken full command of their inner world. That's the game. It's always been the game. Master within, and you master without. Fall within, and you fall everywhere. So build your fortress. Build it early. Build it strong. Build it brick by brick in sweat and silence long before the applause. And when the world tries to test you, you'll laugh. Not because you're arrogant, but because you're anchored. You've already stood when no one was watching. You've already moved when it didn't feel good. You've already sacrificed comfort for clarity. You are unshakable, not by chance, but by choice. And yes, it is a choice. Every morning, every minute, every second. You don't rise early because you're a morning person. You rise early because you're a vision person. And your vision deserves more than what's left over after the world takes its bite. So what are you waiting for? That version of you, the one that moves with power, that speaks with conviction, that leads with grace and purpose. That version is not somewhere in the future waiting to be found. It's built here, now at dawn. One breath, one step, one promise at a time. You are not behind, you are not too late. You are one decision away. Rise before the world, own your hour. Own your choices, own your discipline, own your destiny. You're not here by accident. You felt something deep inside because you know you're meant for more. No more waiting, no more excuses. From tomorrow on, you rise different, more focused, more intentional, more powerful. Because you're not just waking up, you're becoming unstoppable. If this message lit a fire in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs it, and hit subscribe. Because every time you come back here, you're not just watching, you're building the life you were born to live. Let the world sleep, you rise.